All right, Frank, it looks like we are live. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Thanks for coming to hang out with us again.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem.
what
Anytime.
what you been up to all day?
Distributing, and distributing documents all day. Every half hour they were dropping something. Yeah. I was like, what are they doing, man? God. But we knew it'd be like this.
Pretty interesting, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to drop the transcript from the 19th.
As soon as I seen Judge Gold was looking, she needed to get she was planning to get an attorney since the state attorney general would not represent her. I knew she wasn't going to release them. I knew right there.
Hmm.
I even emailed John McCauley, who's the clerk up there in that county, and I usually stay in good contact with him. Well, I messaged him on Friday to get an update, and he never responded back to me. So that told me right there they're not going to do squat with this until the Supreme Court handles it from here. So
What was the most interesting part of it for you?
the Mitchell Westerston, whatever his name is, his little affidavit.
Yeah, what is his name? Westerman, Mitch Westerman.
Westerston, or it's something of that nature.
Yeah, same with me. That's funny.
That is
Um,
funny.
what did he say that when Baldwin left the room,
He
he
left the
was just
office. He went into the conference room and waited. And as he saw the pictures laying out on the table, and I said, "Hold on here." I said, "Come on,
such
really?"
bullshit. That's a lie. That is a lie.
I said, "That's some bullshit right there." I said, "No matter what, it's still going to look like Andrew is incompetent. Period. As far as I'm concerned."
Almost worse because it seems strategic. Remember, the very moment that they wanted to have TV cameras in the courtroom, they're trying to make documents public. And then at the very moment that they're trying to get all these things accomplished, boom, here's this leak,
Right.
of the very information that they're trying to get out to the public. So I
And
think
what
the
and what
word is culpable, maybe.
And what's so interesting is I learned a little bit over the weekend or this past week is that what they put in the memorandum is technically not violating the gag order at all. That's kind of interesting. I was like, well, from my understanding, from them taking things out of discovery and actually putting it in words and depicting it, it is violating. Well, come to find out, it's not.
Yeah, I think intent has a lot to do with it as well. I don't think they intended for that to be released to the public,
Well,
according
that
to
was
them. I would
well,
doubt
yeah.
that, but
Well, that was blatantly because it was up on my case for about an hour with the whole damn thing. The next thing you know, it's gone, and they sent in a revised copy of their motion the following day. So they knew they wanted it out there for a certain amount of time to get it out there as quickly as possible. And then once they did what they had to do, they pulled it out of there.
yeah, and they've been trying to do that from the beginning. Remember, they as soon as they got the case, like I think it was a 2 or 3 days later, they put out that public notice,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, and then Goal was like, "Nope, we got to put a gag order."
And she did that in February.
Yeah,
I
it was
believe it
like
was
the
in
next
February.
day. I think it was the next day.
And they went
Shout
ahead.
out to Solar Chef Steph. Looks like she gifted some memberships. Thanks, Steph.
That reminds me.
Who got lucky? Check your stockings.
I think my membership got renewed today.
What's up, 63 Clocks? Jamie, Mar R, Miss Thang, Sharon Parker, Courtney, Jill, Purdue, what up? Melissa, what are you up to, Jill Moser? And Jari. I need to figure out what's going on with this Jari. I need to make sure it's the real one.
Well, it said it should have came up. It ain't popped up yet, but
What's up,
my
Don
payment went
Spain?
through today.
What's that? Oh, for the members?
Yeah, I get the notification.
We got a lot of people in here. Slathering, Sharon Parker, 63 clocks, 1111. Leslie Kingston says, hi, Sleuth and Frank.
Hold on, guys. Let me get in here real quick on my laptop.
Sandra Ficus. I think that's everybody. Lone Pony, welcome. Yeah, is this the real Jari? Does anybody know?
Yes, that is the real Jari.
Okay.
Tell by the way she does her name.
Coach Kev, what up?
All right.
Speculation, Freckled Joy, Charmaine, Sharon Parker, Mind of Monsters, Jamie Hicks, Sparky Dew, Beth Gonzalez.
Thank you, Miss Dog Lover, for the super sticker and for Sleuth.
Did I miss one?
Yeah, Miss Dog Lover, $3.99.
Ooh, awesome. Thank you, Miss Dog Lover. Okay, so let's talk about Mitch. Now, Mitch is obviously trying to, I don't know, is the word reconcile? You know, he's making an attempt to fix what he has broken as far as his relationship with Baldwin, right?
That's what it seems to appear from the outside.
I feel like he's willing to perjure himself in order to do that.
Well, I like to honestly see him get charged. Honestly, I really do.
I feel like he may be dishonest right here. That might be like potentially another crime, maybe, you think?
I'm not really sure how it works in just a probable cause affidavit. I don't know if that would be. Well, yeah, they would use that against you in court.
Yeah, it's like
so that would be changing your story after the fact. But to me, it sounds like he's trying to kiss butt and get back in with Andrew and help him out. Well, you know what? Like I said before, why were all the pictures laid out on the conference room table like that? Knowing you got clients in and out of the office most of the day, I would imagine, or other employees who have no privy to any of that sensitive information. So answer that question for me, Mr. Andrew Baldwin.
That's the negligence right there.
Right.
In my opinion. But I mean, what do I know?
We're just nobodies to them.
Yeah, and really, people should not be listening to me. That's for damn sure.
Well, Ruckus is in here.
Let me zoom down.
He said, now there's a pair that will be three of a
kind. Hey, Kristen, what's up?
Her birthday was this past Halloween.
Yeah, I can't forget that one. Good to see you, Ruckus. Great live stream. Thank you for going through those documents for us. I'm curious, what do you think about that, Ruckus? The whole Mitch West, is that his name, Westerman? I feel like I think that's it. I think that's right. But I believe him and Baldwin had a conversation, and they're trying to figure out they're going to do any and everything that they can, you know, to salvage what they have kind of destroyed so far. So I think there's an agreement here, and I feel like he's perjuring himself.
Well, we got to see what he says from the get-go, you know, compared to what he's saying now.
Because I definitely don't buy whatever's in that affidavit. Like, oh, Baldwin disappeared. I'm going to go over here and sneak a couple shots.
I don't believe that.
I mean, that part, it might be a half-truth, right? We know that when people are lying, they tell a half-truth. So that could be half-truth, right? He could have been Baldwin.
I don't even see a half-truth in that, man. I don't.
Well, I can see Baldwin showing him the images, like, here's the crime scene photos, and then walking away, and then him sneaking some photos. You know what I mean?
I think what could possibly, he said, hey, I've got to go take care of something real quick, go sit in the conference room, knowing that the damn pictures are sitting there laying out for him.
Orchestrated?
Yep.
Purdue says he has to feel like a dog too, cheating on his wife, the death of his friend, and who? What's going on?
She's talking about Westeros and whatever his name is.
Oh, there's a lot more to that story.
There's all kinds of shit out there right now, man. I don't even pay half attention to half of this shit anymore. I'm focused on what's being filed and what's being said. And basically, the defense is just sticking to the same story they've been saying from the get-go.
Did Ruckus read the transcript from when they were in court here on the 31st when Gull was complaining to Rosie why she fired his ass?
She never said anything like that.
I don't know if he discussed that.
It had to have been in the back of the chambers because I'm hearing that
up here.
Baldwin came with
it's
his
in the
letter
documents that you sent me.
He came with his letter of resignation, from what I'm understanding. So they already knew what was up by the time they got there, because all this took place around the 8th of October. All those emails between all of them.
Oh, here it is. Let me share this. Let me put this on the screen.
And I think really what set the judge off is when somebody took their own life over this whole situation. I think that's what pretty much set it all off.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any remorse.
Neither have I.
All right, how do I zoom in on this one? Oh, here we go. I'm not used to this.
Oh, down here in the left-hand corner, or right-hand corner, man. Where you go back to your screen, go to the right-hand corner, you'll have the plus and minus.
Hold on.
There it is, over to your right.
Oh, okay, there it is. Thank you.
Yep.
Now I got to go back down. I see it. Thank you.
David Hennessy, Jesus Christ. He's something else, man. That dude is something else. They call him Mr. Murder for
He's like
a reason,
in and
though.
out like a ninja.
Yeah, he got a nickname. Yeah, Mr. Murder. He's beat over 100 murder cases.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I skipped it. It looks like it's loading.
Was that off mine? Yeah, that's off mine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one you sent earlier today. Okay, it says here, we are on record. Thank you, Karen. All right. Are we ready? Is the state ready? McClellan says, yes, Your Honor. James Luttrell says, yes, Your Honor. The court defense, you ready? Librato says, yes. Rosie says, yes. The court, we are on record. Go ahead.
You should have seen the look on her face when she walked out in that courtroom and Rosie and Baldwin were sitting head at the table, at the defense table. The new defense team was sitting behind them in the witness seats. You should have seen that look on her face. I was like, oh, damn.
All right, let's see here. We are on the record in state of Indiana versus Richard Allen. I'll show that the state is here by Mr. McClellan, Mr. Luttrell. Defense is here by Mr. Librato, Mr. Screamin', and I note yesterday late the written appearance by Mr. Rosie and Mr. Baldwin. So we are here. Mr. Librato, earlier this morning, you filed a motion to continue the jury trial. Librato says that's correct, Your Honor. The court, go ahead, sir. Librato, I explained that to Mr. Allen. The court, okay, and that is the state's position. McClellan, judge, the state has no objection as long as the time is chargeable to the defendant. The court, okay. Librato and Your Honor, that's in our motion that we would accept all the CR4 time. The court, yeah, I show in paragraph 4, the state doesn't object as long as CR4 is charged to the defendant. Appearance by Mr. Rosie and Mr. Baldwin. Gentlemen.
Yeah, this is where it got interesting right here.
What did she do? Gentlemen,
And she leaned forward and was looking straight at him. Right. I mean, I was like,
Yeah, it's either she's got to go or they got to go. These guys can't work together anymore, I don't think. Judge, Mr. Allen has asked us to represent him, and we are. We entered our appearance to represent him. The court, okay. Well, as we had our hearing on the 19th, prior to that hearing, we had some discussions. Counsel, you withdrew. You chose to withdraw from the case rather than be removed for gross negligence. What's changed in 12 days?
right.
So, I mean, do we really need to read any more of this?
It's just, it's.
We can.
It was arguing back and forth, basically, is what it was.
It's like, you guys quit. Was I going to fire you? Maybe. But it was going to be on the record. You didn't give me the opportunity to put it on the record.
And then when Dave Hennessy came up, he made it theatrical. Their memorandum was a piece of work.
Well, that's their job, remember?
Uh-oh.
No, that's my phone. Sorry. I think I'm getting feedback. I learned that my cell phone gives my stuff feedback. But I was watching Ruckus's live stream before we went live, and he made a great comment like, it doesn't even matter the facts of the case anymore, right? These lawyers are coming in here and they're fucking smoking mirrors and waving a magic wand and getting everybody, with that misdirection, and they do a good job at it. I think that's why they brought that Hennessy guy in there to try to pull something out of his ass.
Well, he did a damn good job of it. I can tell you that. I mean, I couldn't believe that the judge was allowing him to speak to her like he was. I was just like, man, are you going to get him in contempt or something for what he's doing?
Was it that bad?
Man, he was bullying her.
That's crazy.
But she stood her ground, though. I give her that. She stood her ground.
Animal says, also they're just emailing all sorts of sensitive things around. That isn't acceptable procedure. Well, the prosecution believes others are involved. I talked with Fig about that. He seems to think that's just jargon. They got to say that until they can prove otherwise. But the way that they've put it in the past makes me believe that there are others that could be involved. So that means it's an open case. When you have an open case, I think that there's a fine line right there, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it does. When the first hearing, when he said that, and then it got real quiet about, you never heard anything him about or anything from law enforcement about another person involved. You didn't hear about anybody being looked at or anything. And like I said before, and then the defense started running with the same tactics. But now Nick McClellan has left the door wide open since he's got this whole thing for another year to look in to see if there's other people involved.
Yeah, because there's a lot we don't know, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff that we don't know. And I believe that's the reason why they were trying to rush. I mean, the defense wanted to rush and get this trial in January of this coming year before the real stuff came out.
Frank, I'm going to kill my camera.
All right.
I think something's going on with my cable. So if you want to kill yours, that's cool.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Let me read a little bit more of this here. This is Rosie here. Well, Judge, I think I've made it abundantly clear in my pleadings with the court that the conduct of the tribunal in chambers a week and a half ago left us with no choice but to withdraw. Okay, so he just admitted that he withdrew.
But you got to see what he's saying, though. The conduct of the judge in her chamber is basically what forced him to withdraw. That's what he.
Yeah, but I just want people to understand that that's a great argument, and I understand they're trying to plead their case, but I just want everybody to see that.
Right.
That it is a fact that they withdrew. Now, if they want to come back and say, oh, we were forced to withdraw, that's up to you to believe that. But the truth is, no matter what, they withdrew themselves. They weren't let go.
The point of the matter is, we're really not going to know exactly what was said until it's released either by the Supreme Court or they just finally released a transcript of it. All you're getting is a one-sided affair here. You're hearing what Rosie's saying, what happened in there. You're not hearing what actually happened in there. There might be truth to it, but we just don't know.
Half truth.
Right.
Listen to this part here. This kind of makes him look like a coward here. The court that the conduct of the tribunal in the chambers a week and a half ago left us with no choice but to withdraw because we were going to put ourselves in a direct conflict with our client. Okay, so if you were going to continue the normal proceedings of the hearing, you're still at conflict. No matter what. The second you're hired again, you're now at conflict. That's why you got let go.
Yeah.
By sitting in the courtroom and accepting, what was a lashing. So they're basically saying that we quit because we didn't want you to make us look like fools.
That's just the way I see it.
Look at that. To avoid a lashing. Cowards.
I mean, when we saw Doug Carter, Liggett, Steve Mullen, and a bunch of different officers walk in and they sat at the witness chairs right behind the defense table, I instantly said, Nick came to box. He's ready to throw down with these guys to show that they actually did create the leak. And it was brought to their attention in the judge's chambers, and they saw what Nick had and what he was going to present, and that basically told them we need to get out of this before we get embarrassed in the courtroom.
Yeah, and then they try to pull some lawyer tricks to try to get back in there.
Right.
They're still doing that.
Well, I don't know. I don't see where it's going to get them. Only thing that really worries me is the fact is, if it is true, if they were on record in her chambers and everything was being recorded, why wasn't Richard Allen in the room with them? That's the only problem that I have with the whole situation.
Well, it wasn't a hearing.
Well, anything on record.
It was a meeting. Well, he has access to it. I think that's why this is being published, is for him specifically, I think.
Right.
This is what how the court responded. Well, again, you haven't answered my question that nothing has changed in 12 days since I found gross negligence on the part of the defense in representing Mr. Allen. Rosie says, well, the answer to the question is, if that we didn't act grossly negligent and the court has an opinion that's different than our opinion, and at this point, without some due process and some findings with the notice, an opportunity to be heard, that we're just on a different page. Well, once again, they quit. They didn't allow any of the due process to take place. You can't have due process. When you tell your boss, I want to quit, that means they're no longer interested in supporting your company, supporting your cause. You are now a danger, a potential risk. So she would be negligent, in my point, if she keeps these guys any further than that moment in time where they say we intend to quit. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I think the goose is cooked once the evidence comes in and shows that, man, once they see that thing for that affidavit from Mitch, they're going to be like, hold on here. So why would they lay that on that table in the first place?
That's negligent.
Yep.
So even though I thought that, I kind of expected that they would be fired and I would be okay. I thought they had done enough to deserve to be fired. But I also thought it would be okay to keep them on at the risk of Gall, knowing that if she keeps them on, it would benefit the case. But ultimately, if they fuck up again, it would fall on her.
Right.
But she wasn't going to be the martyr, I don't think. She's like, nope, I'm not having any of this shit.
No, I don't blame her at all. I don't blame her at all.
But what do you think is going to happen with the Supreme Court? You think everything's just going to fall as it is now and they're going to proceed and get going next year?
I believe once they see everything, like I said.
Or October of next year, I mean.
like I said, once they see this affidavit, they're going to realize, well, damn, gross negligence on his part. But what, as far as I think the judge was in proper order of what she did in the first place. She gave them the opportunity to get out now before we get out here, because we get out here, you're not going to like what's going to happen. It's basically how it went down in that judge's chambers. So I think they took the high road to avoid all that. And once you resign, you're done. And she made that very clear, and they try to be sneaky about it, like you said, and coming in the back door. Well, we're filing an appearance as pro bono. But like I said, when she walked in the courtroom, I saw the look on her face when she seen him sitting there. You can see her blood pressure rise through the roof through her face. And once she said, "Okay, gentlemen, I see you filed an appearance. So what happened from the 19th until now?" I said, "Oh, well, this is going to get juicy right here." And then she spoke directly to Richard, first time. And he spoke back. You know, he understood. Uh-oh, I lost somebody. We lost him. Yes, they did, Cold Truth. They quit. Matter of fact, I can read all this now. I lost him. All right. I know he's messaging here somewhere. Yeah, he said give him 5, guys. Let me go through the chat here. Give him 5 minutes. I'll go through the chat and see what people are asking. I can't click on them from my end, I don't think. No, I can't, but I'll read them all. All right. Let's see. Brutally honest says Andrew can be deemed incompetent, maybe, but that has nothing to do with Bradley Rosie. The judge surely has no good reason to boot him off the case also, but she wants them both gone anyway. And see, I've got a different aspect on that, brutally honest. And I mean, I don't know how many times I've explained to people how to give an example, like a baseball team, okay? A few years back, the Yankees were playing the Mets in the World Series. And I can't remember who was hitting the ball. And Bill Buckner was playing first base. The ball rolled between his legs, and it cost him the game. Or it was Boston and the Mets, I believe it was. And the ball went between his legs, which gave the winning run to the Mets, and they ended up winning the World Series. One man messed up for a whole team affects the whole team. I understand what you're saying, that Rosie, there's a possibility he had no inkling of what was going on with this situation. But you got to look at it as a team sport when it comes to, it's the same thing. They both are on the same team. It's going to affect both of the coaches, no matter what, or the players. You're working as a team, you take it as a team. And Rosie doesn't want to accept that. Human animal, I can't answer for that. That's all Sleuth's doing. I'm going through here as fast as I can, guys. Daisy said that's their narrative. Baldwin was telling his buddy their strategy. Good one. CJK said there's been questionable things going on for a while, so both attorneys are guilty of the shenanigans. Well, like I said, Shane, we don't know if he's going to get charged or not, but I still think it still falls back on Baldwin in the first place because those photos should have not been laying out on the conference room table. Period. And you're not going to tell me every person in that law firm was working the case and had access to all that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that there's only maybe two, maybe three people total in that law firm that might have had access to that stuff. But to leave it all laying out for anybody and their mother to see it, that's where the mess up is. Yes, GP, I agree. He's kissing some butt, definitely. Hey, Kristen. Purdue says he has to feel like dog shit, cheating on his wife, the death of his friend, and falsifying a written statement. Oh, yeah, definitely, Ruckus. Yeah, that's the most blatant lie I ever saw in my life when I read that thing. Talk about the affidavit that Mitch wrote. There you go, Coach Kev. That's what I've been saying. I think Mitch and Baldwin are at odds. His sworn affidavit sunk Baldwin, leaving pics on a conference room table. All Baldwin's fault. Totally agree. Charmaine says Mitch has proven to be unethical, so it's hard to believe anything he says, even in a sworn statement. And he didn't mention anything else that was leak strategy. Squeaky Wheel says those defense lawyers are trying everything in the book in order to push the bullshit Odinist theory. They see how it affected simple-minded people, so convincing a jury or two should be a piece of cake. Yep, that's their whole intent. They want to cloud our judgment now and have our minds made up before anybody even gets called in for jury duty. I mean, they're attorneys. They could think something smarter than that to where we couldn't figure that out. Chris and behind the crime door says their culpability in this is being investigated. Trust me on that. Oh, I'm sure it is. Sorry, Mar, I don't believe them to be shady. Well, you must be looking at something totally different than everybody else is looking at, because we're all looking at the same thing, and I think 90% of the people here believe that there was some shady shit going on with the defense. Now, you might be right, though. You know, I can't disagree. Courtney says, who wrote the Franks motion? And in my opinion, I think that Mitch had his hand in that, my opinion, just by the way it was written. Are we still? Yeah, we're still alive. He must be having internet problems. I don't know of any YouTuber to help write the Franks motion. I haven't heard that, Vicky. Yeah, Coach Kev believes Mitch wasn't involved in the Franks motion concoction. Leslie Kingston says Baldwin walked his own plank. Yes, ma'am, he sure did, as far as I'm concerned. Jamie Hicks says, blaming Fran does not make Richard Allen innocent, and neither does the defense trying to obtain a jury. I'm sorry, but I do believe she's being impartial. Is that Cheryl Genie? Yeah, right. Anything I like. They definitely didn't get snookered. See how they put those little words in there to try to butter up their claims. Date is that Danzer? Snay received pics of a computer screen. Someone has already perjured themselves. Ruckus goes, Baldwin and Rosie walk into the bar and get disbarred. Well, of course, Coach, Crime Night's trying to get his name out there, so he wants to dip his nose into something he has no clue what he's talking about. Once again, first he's on the family, and now he's all on Odin. Come on. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah, see, a lot of us known about the bullet theory for many years, Jamie. There was no verification or vetting in it at that time until all this came out here recently about the bullet, and then we was like, oh damn, we were talking about this years ago. Oh, yeah, you're back. I see.
Oh man, my computer crashed. I didn't hit the power. Apparently, it completely crashed. So when I reset it, my audio didn't connect properly. So then I had to reset it again.
Yeah, I had
And
to.
who was that? Let me go back to a comment here. Well, somebody said something about you need at least 24 gigs of RAM, and I was laughing because I only have 16. I agreed with that comment. Oh, Squeaky Will said it, I think. I agree with that. Thanks, Frank. Thanks for holding it down, man.
Oh yeah. So going
I
through
was
the
listening.
chat, going through the chat and trying to catch up a little bit. And there's a shitload of people in here.
It says 226. They hitting all the likes, getting the likes up.
We got 91 likes and 228 in the chat. We need to everybody hit that thumbs up, people.
Disgusting.
But yeah, they were getting back to screenshots of the Frank's motion. I said, yeah, it was about the bullet years ago. Remember when that was all talked about? The rumor that there was 40 caliber rounds found out there, and no one could really vet anything about it until here just last 6 months or last year.
Well, I heard about it a while ago. There was a rumor that there was information inside of the Logan Maxwell or something that was hidden in the Ron Logan affidavit. Somewhere the information was there. Wait, hold on.
I knew that's why one of the reasons why they searched the Maxwells, because they had a 40 caliber weapon registered to that address.
How did Sparky Do get banned?
I don't have no
I think we might have a rogue. Let's see. Oh no, I think I clicked the wrong one. Sorry about that, Sparky. Let me see if I can undo it here. Oh shit. I don't know if I can do it from here. Hold on. I think I gotta actually go into YouTube.
What are you trying to do?
Can one of the mods do it? Unblock Sparky Do, please. For some reason I can't do it. Whoops. My bad.
Sparky dude, there we go. Okay. She's unhidden. Or he's unhidden.
Sorry about
Right.
that, Sparky. My bad.
D got her.
Thanks, D.
Yeah, that's what we were discussing. It was Jamie Hicks brought it up about the bullet thing.
Oh, okay. So what I was saying is, so we heard about it early on, and then we kind of stopped hearing about it. It was kind of like the F talk, you know, like you heard
Mm-hmm.
about it, you knew there was some truth to it, but you quite weren't sure what was going on. But then you had YouTubers out of nowhere. I think Sunny Justice was one. There was a couple others, and there was a leak about the 40 caliber casing, and they started covering it. And sure enough, right after they started covering it, they arrested Richard Allen.
Right. Yeah.
So it was almost like they didn't want him to hear it. Okay. There. Now I think I blocked the right person.
I haven't seen the trolls yet.
CJK says, I'm shocked at how many refuse to believe there's more evidence and the spent shell casing will be tossed. No, that's good evidence. That's the most
Oh,
part. That's all I want to see. That's why I want him to go to trial. I want them to either prove or disprove that, because otherwise he's just a guy there, right?
yeah. I wouldn't just say he's just a guy there. I mean, just his statements alone. I mean, I'm looking as being a juror. I'm just saying hypothetically. If I was a juror and somebody made those kind of incriminating statements like he did, plus the phone calls to his mother and to his wife, then the bullet, and knowing what else they got on him, I just don't. I just don't see a jury not
Well,
convicting
I
him
would
at
need to
all.
know all the facts surrounding his confession, because I don't know the details if he was coerced or not.
Right.
And also, the only thing to me that makes me believe that he should be in custody is the unspent casing. Without that, as a jury member, I would say to release him.
Mm.
Otherwise, there's not enough. I would say keep him as a suspect and keep the investigation going. But yeah, without tying him specifically to that crime scene, to me, it's just not enough.
I would have to agree.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Him putting himself there between 1:30 and 3:30,
Well,
allegedly.
Then he changes it.
Yeah, allegedly, right?
Right. You know, it's just uh, it's that mind game they're playing with everybody. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, I just don't understand what due process are they looking for? When somebody quits, that's it. You got to get out. How can I have due process when somebody's not being represented? Your client doesn't have representation and you quit. You
And,
can't have you can't have due process with until he has representation.
I think they're saying he had his due process was violated because he didn't have an attorney as soon as they was after that court hearing. I think that's what they're trying to pull.
Well, I think they're saying, well, we didn't technically quit. You know, we didn't go through that entire process. You know, we didn't go through that officially. But to me, it's like if you even hint that you no longer are interested in defending your client, you got to get out of there. If you come to the judge and say, I'm thinking about quitting, like there's a chance they can tell you, get the hell out of here.
And
That's not,
you know what's so funny though is you know how there was that correspondence letter that was supposedly written by Richard Allen that was prior to the 19th.
yeah.
That was another indication too that the defense knew what was going to happen on the 19th. If
I think
Richard
that,
Allen was already writing the judge prior to that, he
wow.
was already advised what was going to take place. Richard Allen did. He was already advised.
Yeah. In my opinion, everything that happened with the defense, they should have just faced the music.
Honestly, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see her drop that gauntlet down on them so bad, right there in the courtroom. And then I saw, then when I knew something was up, as soon as they took her back to see Richard, I said, this is not normal. I have never seen this before, where they take a defendant's wife to the back to see her husband who's incarcerated.
Yeah, and
Never
then the
seen it.
attorney's snapping his fingers like
I know.
he's like, you, let's go. Like let's go. And they just get up and go. Like they don't have a clue what the fuck is going on. You got this
Right.
guy. I felt bad for him. I was
I
like, this
was
is your representation. You got one guy ducking out through the back hall with his head down in shame, and the other guy pissed off, stomping out, making a scene.
yeah.
So I don't care. Give it. You can say what you want about Nick McClelland, but he just sat there.
He kept his cool.
He just sat there.
Just
We're ready. We're ready
like
when you are.
Like on Halloween, he did the same thing, kept his cool the whole time. Judge asked him what his thoughts were. He agreed with what the judge said. Gross negligence.
So was the defense trying to create like some kind of fake story and kind of make it seem like, well, yeah, we know that this is a fake story, but look, it's more convincing than what you guys are saying about our client. But I think that the public disagreed with them. I think they were wrong and they were way off on that.
I would have to agree.
Yep, I think they were just wrong, and I think their egos kept them from being fired. And I don't care what Mitch says or whatever he wants to perjure himself in an affidavit, but he's lying,
Oh, there's no doubt.
in my opinion.
Like I said,
In my uneducated opinion.
Same here. But the writing's on the wall. Why
Yeah,
were
common sense, man. Common sense.
Why were photos just left out laying out? Answer that question. It's the only question that needs to be asked is why were those photos laid out like that? And the Supreme Court's going to be want some answers. I can guarantee it.
And why did I hear that it looked like it was on a laptop? So is that what Baldwin did? He took his photos, he just kind of snapped off the computer, and then those were his discovery folders. And is that why it looked like there was a laptop or something on there?
I see. From my understanding, everything's transferred over on disk, flash drives, and things of that nature. And some of the stuff wasn't, and it's still in boxes. They're going through everything. But the way it sounded to me, they were just the actual photos laid up on the table, is what Mitch is saying.
Yeah, but it's my understanding that the photos were like photos taken of a computer, and then somebody taking a photo of that. A photo of a photo.
Right. Makes sense. So unless they were just printing them off their laptop, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility too.
Well, the judge mentioned something about getting those printed out, that there was a request made by the defense, and she felt that could be the source of the leak, and it looks like she was right.
Wow.
Olivia says, do you think the judge will remain on the case? I think that she will. And I don't blame her for the delay either.
Well, no, I mean, come on. I mean, now that was just an indication that somebody filed a complaint against her. Why she filed for the extension.
Deb says, I'm side-eyeing everything and everyone. Holster. Put it in the holster, Deb.
And I thought it would be pretty quiet, but nope.
Not at all. Jeannie Smith says, I would have to know all the facts too. Yeah. Because you just don't know what happened. He could have killed the girls and still even done a false confession, right? He could have done it without even knowing it. It could have been out of his mind. Or he could be innocent and then kind of went out of his mind momentarily and made a false confession. That does happen. Do I think that happened? No.
He seemed fine to me in court the other day.
Yeah, he looks like he's finally adjusting.
Put a little bit of weight on. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah, at some point he's got to get tired. If he's a guilty man, he's got to get tired of the act, right? The charade.
Right.
At some point, it's got to get exhausting, and he's got to be like, "Ah, I just can't do this anymore."
It just still blows my mind that his lead attorney now agrees with the bullet evidence. I'm like, oh, how's this going to work out?
Yeah, really nothing. CJK says the pro Allen, he's not guilty group really think there's nothing there. We don't even know what all the prosecution has in their hand, their cards, so to speak. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think the defense did either. I'm not sure if all the discovery was handed over yet. Sea King, I agree. People like to ignore the 5 to 6 confession. That's not a misinterpretation of something said. Could be. I mean, it all depends on who's telling you the story, right?
Of course.
That's who writes history, right? The
I
people
mean,
who win the war.
That's how it works in the courtroom. They tell a story hoping you believe it.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
To the victor go the spoils. Slatherings, there's so much more stuff could have that we don't know about. To me, I think people underestimate the unspent shell casing and how they're going to go and scientifically prove that those extractor marks came directly from Richard Allen's firearm. I think they're going to be able to prove that quite easily. Question is, can they prove like chain of custody and all that shit? GP says there's going to be a lot of stuff that we will never see. I agree with that. I'm hoping we don't see any of it. And Richard Allen talks with his new attorneys, and they're not so attention hungry.
Oh, that one surely don't need no attention.
Which one?
The one that got suspended for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, what the hell's his name?
The bald-headed one.
William Libredo.
Yeah.
All right, Frank, we're going to hang out another 10 minutes, so we'll catch up on the chat. If there's anything else you want to add or talk about.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride, guys, because we're in for a long haul. That's all I got to say about it right now.
What do you say? What about the due process, or not the due process, but the right to a speedy trial? I think that's been up for debate as well.
Well, I mean, you got to think of it this way. I mean, what happened when Rosie and Baldwin were assigned the case? Did they actually file the paperwork for a speedy trial? I have never seen anything for it. Have you?
For some reason, I remember him waiving his right. Thank you, Leslie, Miss Dog Lover, and again, Miss Dog Lover, and Solar Chef Steph. You guys check your stockings. You might have a membership.
Because I don't recall anything being filed for a speedy trial at all. So I don't think his due process was violated at all when it came to that. And a lot of people said, well, his due process was violated because he didn't have an attorney. No, that is incorrect. From things that I've read and studied, is that he advised the court he was going to hire his own attorney. So 2 weeks later, he's pleading with the court that he can't afford one. He needs a public defender. You can't put that on the court. You have to put that on Richard Allen.
And it's funny because a lot of people say, well, Richard Allen, he's allowed to pick who he wants to defend himself. But he's not the one who picked Baldwin or Rosie. And then you have people out there that say, well, Rosie's picking this libretto and this screaming because they're yes men. Well, she's the one that picked Baldwin and Rosie too, you dummies.
Right. But,
which is it? Which is it?
And then they talk about, well, she's friends with this person and friends with that person. And she
ridiculous.
pick her own people out of her own county. Well, I mean, what do you expect her to do?
Yeah, and then all these lawyer tricks. Oh, and I think Rosie, I think he overstepped his bounds because when he tried to file the hearing, he also filed like at the same time to get Gull removed.
Yeah,
I think he would have had better luck if he would have stayed away from that. To
it's
me,
going to be
so it was for the
interesting.
cameras, kind of. You know what I mean? Is what it looked like.
There's still no word on the lady that filed for the transcripts from the 19th. Still no. Well, they really can't do any ruling on the Richard Allen case now. It's in the Supreme Court. Everything with Richard Allen has to go to a halt when it comes to the murder trial.
Yeah, he has like two other attorneys in that part of things as well.
Right. So
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to get to hear any of that. Honestly, I think because I'm sure Gull has representation now. By
I'm sure
now,
she. Yeah, I'm sure she does.
I mean, of course, she's going to ask the top dog first off. You know.
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised in the first place because he had just got sanctioned by the Supreme Court. He got fined $250. So I wasn't really surprised that took place. They rejected for him to represent her. So
Sandra says, this is a response to seeking. People like to forget all the confessions made to his wife and his admitting to being there that day in the same clothes from the video. Yeah, and another thing that kind of bothers me is that instead of Kathy kind of asking him, like, what do you mean? Like talking with him about it, she like hung up the phone.
because she knew it was being recorded.
Yeah, like to protect him.
Right.
I didn't like that. The response should have been, "What do you mean you killed those girls? Like, what happened? How did you do it? Like, you really did that?" But no, it was like, "I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna end this call now."
Right. Well, nice turnout again tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do these maybe like every 2 weeks, Frank, or maybe anytime we find some crazy documents that when you're digging up those documents.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because there's like a trio of us that all work together with documents. Whoever gets it first has to distribute to these certain people first, and vice versa. So we all work together when it comes to the documents now. Whoever gets it.
Sparky's saying, "Why is the art of deduction hidden?" Because he's a troublemaker. Been he's been labeled a troublemaker, I guess. Hugh Holt says the spent shell had 16 years to be left there. That's not true.
Where did he come up with 16 years?
Well, he's saying he's been out there for a long time. He could have been hiking at any point. But the truth is, what's the chance? You know, he's only lived there for the 5. Is he ever going to say whether or not he's been there before? No. And why is he hiking back? And that'll make him look guilty anyway. If he said, "Well, I may have lost it when I was hiking back here before." Okay, so you've been hiking back here at the crime scene? We don't know a whole lot of people that have been back there prior to the murders, you know? He might be the only one we would ever know of. Him and Garrett Kurtz. Let's see what Brutally Honest is talking about. Welcome, Brutally. A player who messed up in basketball game was from the same team. And although Baldwin and Rosie were on the same defense, they also operate separately, separate offices. Rosie wasn't negligent, so he should be able to continue. I disagree.
This is the argument that I had with her earlier.
It's a good argument.
Yeah.
But I understand. You know, you can't. I say it's like fruit of a poison tree. You know, he's part of that tree that's been poisoned. Nothing good will come from it moving forward.
Exactly. And that's the point I was trying to get across.
Not at his own fault, though. I don't think he did anything wrong. Potentially, I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's culpable in all of this, but from the outside looking in, I don't think it's at his own fault.
See, the way I explained it was the World Series with the Red Sox and the Mets, where that slow roller rolled in between Bill Buckner's legs at first place, which caused the Mets to win the World Series. That one player made a mistake, and it affected the whole team. It cost them the World Series.
Finkel is Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
He missed that punt, and cost him the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Dolphins. Yeah.
Vic Sleuth. If this case happened in AZ, would we see half of these shenanigans? Oh yeah. Look, I'm not pro police or anything. Arizona's corrupt as shit.
Hey man, I got word today that allegedly Tony moved down there.
I think he had something on his Facebook, but I honestly doubt. Just because there's a Facebook that says it doesn't mean it's true. But that would be interesting. Because I think what's her face lives out here too. The one who was talking to him and Keegan in prison.
You talk about
can't remember her name. Julie's friend.
Yeah. I can't remember her name.
Kelly, I think is her name.
Kelly Brown. Yeah.
Whatever happened to her?
Last I heard, this is just what I heard, is that she was involved with the documentary that's going to be happening.
Oh, cool. I think she was involved in with the Hannah Shakespeare one as well.
The original, yeah.
I think she was a source or something. I'm not sure. Gary. All right, we'll go to a couple more. Gary Clemens says, if they get rid of the judge for what she did to the lawyers, they definitely need to get rid of the lawyers for what they did. I don't know if Gall did anything. That's the thing. There's people that say there wasn't due process, but I believe that she wasn't given the opportunity to provide any due process. Once Rosie and Baldwin showed any interest at all that they did not want to represent Richard Allen, they're out of there. They're now a danger to that courtroom and the client. They got to get out of there. Now that they got to get out of there, Richard Allen has no representation, so he's got to get the hell out of there. How are you going to have due process when all these people got to get the hell out of that courtroom?
That's why I said sit back and enjoy the ride. Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot more filings before the 16th gets here.
Ruckus says those were not pictures of photos. Yeah, I don't know, Ruckus. I didn't see them. When I originally heard about them, it was pictures of images on a computer screen, most likely a laptop. Make sure you guys go check out the Ruckus Rocks podcast. He's one of those corrupt cops. You're in on it, Ruckus. I know it.
He's one of them guys that says, I do what I want to do.
I'm not pro-police, but I don't want to be a believer that we can't, assume that a lot of these law enforcement and investigators are good people, Right. I just refuse to believe that. I know there's a lot of corruption. Trust me. I've told you guys before that I was almost murdered by a cop for absolutely no reason. And I don't think you should blindly trust law enforcement, but I just can't get on board with the idea that we can't trust the process. I don't think, and I could be in denial on that. I will admit that. But I just want to believe that we should be able to trust the majority of people. 1 out of 10 is bad, I say.
I've never had that kind of run in.
Oh, thank you, Jari. I didn't know if somebody was trying to troll because I've had that happen before where people will notice that one of the subscribers or somebody that's always in the videos is taking some time away. They'll come in and be like, "Oh, I had to get a new account." Then you make them a moderator and then they start deleting everybody. It's like, oh man, the shenanigans behind the scene.
Yeah, I got a call about that today. Somebody's allegedly hacking the Discords and going into people's stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. All right, Frank, I'm gonna do one more here, one more comment. Let's see here. We'll do a couple. Brutally Honest says, I just hope for the judge that Richard Allen doesn't suffer a sudden unforeseen collapse. I was just thinking that today. I was like, man, a whole nother year he's got to wait. Like that puts him more at risk. But also it gives the new defense team and the prosecution opportunity to do some more work.
Right.
And I think that's what the case that's what really matters, right? Get the job done and do it right.
Exactly. Well, she's going way back.
Here's Ruckus. He waived his right to a speedy trial. That matters. Didn't he? When did he do that, Ruckus? I was trying to find that before the live stream because I was talking to Frank about it, and I was like, at some point, I remember there being an announcement, but then in the back of my head, I wasn't sure if I was getting it confused with Koberger. So I wasn't 100% sure. Thanks, Ruckus. Squeaky Will, yeah. I mean, that was already a scandal. The memorandum was a scandal. When they took on the case, they tried to make a plea to the public. And I get it. You know, you don't want to withhold evidence. You don't want the prosecution to control the narrative about the defendant. But it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. All right, Frank, final word, and then we're out of here.
Sit back and enjoy the ride, guys. That's all I got to say.
Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yep. That's all we can do right now. We're basically on a stalemate until everybody gets everything filed by the 16th, and Lord knows how long it'll take to decide if they're going to hear arguments or they're just going to make a decision on everything. So, but as far as right now, as far as the case itself, that's on a standstill. We all need to realize that.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I
Yes,
say
sir.
we'll do this again very soon.
All right, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one. Good
Thank
night,
you,
guys.
everybody. If you could hit the like button on the way out, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to go check out Frankmeister, his link is in the description. And Replay Crew, let me know what you thought about today's live stream and what you think about what has unfolded here. Yeah, that's weird. Super weird. I don't think he did it. Oh, you don't? Why is that? Oh, because I've been sending information to the defense team. I'm pretty much part of the team, guys. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. Replay Crew, let me know what you thought. If you're not subscribed, guys, consider subscribing. And if you are subscribed, consider becoming a member. Shout out to Frankmeister for joining me. Other than that, guys, I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.